Okay, today we're going to talk about our color element of art sketchbook assignment. So this is where your sketchbook vocabulary should be for the element of art for color. We had a lot of vocabulary this week. So you're going to take your sketchbook page and you're going to flip it over. This side is still going to be for your sketchbook page. Today, we are going to be doing some sketches for it over here. In this sketchbook assignment, you need to have, you need to have 5 spheres that we're going to practice drawing. Okay, you need to have 5 color schemes, and you need to have your background sectioned off into at least 5 background sections. So I suggest making some thumbnails. And by suggest, I mean make at least 2 thumbnails of kind of how you want to divide up your section. So you're going to have 5 spheres in here and 5 sections. Maybe you want to do an X with a line through it. Maybe you want to have more organic kind of curvy lines to split it up. But you're going to have at least 5 sections, and then you're going to put in your spheres, and they can be larger, they can be smaller. It just depends on how you want to do it. They could intersect, but you have to have at least 5. You can also add ones that go off the page. I kind of like the organic sort of quality over here. I'm going to start on a diagonal on my sketch page. Okay, it's kind of got a almost it makes me think of like tie-dye. So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to put circles where I want my spheres. And you can trace something that is spherical if you want to. Let's see. These are all fairly similar in size. Maybe I want to make one that's a little bigger over here. Maybe one that's a little bit smaller. Sorry for the jiggle. I accidentally snagged that. So get that in. Then go in and clean up. You want to erase any lines that go through your spheres because you are going to be shading these and making them look 3-dimensional. So clean up your edges. Why'd I sing that? I don't know. Clean up your edges. Get things rounded off. Now that I've got those sort of sketched out, you need to come up with your 5 color schemes. So 5 color schemes, there's lots of different things you can do color scheme wise. You can do primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. You're going to list the colors that you're using. Obviously primary is red, yellow, and blue. RYB. Secondary, GBV. Analogous colors, any 3 colors in a row on the color wheel. Maybe you want to do red, violet, violet, RV, violet. Maybe you want to do warm colors, Roy, or cool colors, GBV. It really just depends. You could do monochromatic. You could do neutral. They're all different color schemes. Complementary, I'm going to show you. Complementary. Those are the opposites. Maybe I want to do violet and yellow, or red and green, or blue and orange, or blue, green, and red, red, orange. Like, I usually think Miami Dolphin. So come up with which ones you're doing, circle what you're doing, or write down the colors, and then we're going to get started. You have to do at least 3 of your spheres in pencil or black and white. Okay, so I'm going to clean up the edge of this real quick. Now, in making your spheres, remember, you want to have a highlight and a shadow. You have to think about where your light's coming from. So if my light's coming from here, my highlight's going to be over here, my shadow's going to be over here. If the light's coming from here, highlight, shadow. So think about it. I'm going to have my light coming from over in this direction. So I'm going to make my Mike Wazowski eyeball, and then I'm going to make my Mike Wazowski smiley face into that crescent moon shape. I'm going to switch out to my drawing pencil because I'm going to be blending this. So in this shadow, you're not really going to have to worry about cast shadow with this assignment. Oh, it's very wiggly. I'm going to have to run this through a stabilization thing. So I'm coloring in this dark shadow, and then I'm going to start coming out with my sort of darker gray around the dark shadow. Switching my, and then get lighter as you come around the highlight. I don't like that line around my highlight, so I'm going to go in with my eraser and I'm going to clean that up and get it nice and smooth. This is not like a quick race. You need to focus on getting it nice and smooth and making your spheres look nice and finished. I do not like that line right there. I'm going to go in and I'm going to erase that line. I know that I want this highlight here, and I can bring that out. I can clean up my edges because I've got a couple little baubles out there. So spend some time on your craftsmanship, getting things in there. Maybe I want this little, I'm going to keep my highlight there. Creepy black crescent moon from the Mike Wazowski smile. Lighter around the highlight. Okay. Maybe I want my big one over here. Still highlight facing this direction. Always keep them going in the same direction. Creepy Mike Wazowski smile. Coloring in that crescent moon really dark. Blend out. Trying to get it smooth. I'm going to go light. I'm going to erase that line again. Oh, that was a little dark. My hand's gone a little bit numb here. Trying to blend in here. Smooth my transitions a little bit. It's not very round. Okay. So now that's 5 spheres in black and white. You have to do at least 3 spheres in pencil. I'm going to do a couple in color. So I'm going to choose 3 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So I'm going to choose my blue, violet, with my blue violet in between. So in this sphere, I'm going to leave this area white, and I'm going to shade in really lightly with blue. We're going to layer our colored pencil. So I'm using this like a magic wand at this point, just to get, it's difficult to remove colored pencils, so you always want to kind of keep in mind, you want to go a little at a time. So I just added really lightly going up there. I'm gonna take my darkest value, which is the violet, to add that creepy Mike Wazowski smile with that sort of crescent moon shape. I'm going to blend out a little bit. So wherever you're adding your color can count toward your color schemes. You have to have at least 5 color schemes. And you're blending your colored pencil. So you're layering one color over each other, trying to get it nice and smooth. Now, I've got that a little bit dark right there, but I'm going to take my blue, since I want blue up here highlight-wise. And I'm going to go in. Layering this blue over the violet. So when you're layering your colored pencil, you're doing a little at a time, trying to get a nice, smooth surface. I usually try little circles. Okay. So, analogous, I can say, like, blue, violet, and blue violet for the colors that I used. Maybe I want to do a primary color scheme in the background somewhere. I'm going to save that sphere for later, and I'm going to, I think, red next to the blue. It's not quite a complementary color to blue. Orange is the complete opposite to blue, but red is far enough away that it can make your blue object kind of look like it's popping out a bit. So I'm going to do red right here. And I'm going to kind of do that tie-dye look. So I'm going to kind of leave some purposeful lines right here. Because when I overlap my yellow, it's going to make that look orangey or red-orange. So I'm layering that together, which will make that blue really vibrant right there. Remember, those primary colors cannot be made by any other hues. Like, you can't actually manufacture primary colors. You have to have those to get any other hues. So I'm gonna bring that down. Then I'm gonna bring my blue in and overlap that so it'll have like green where they overlap. Yeah, I'll bring it up here. So you can really see that. So red, yellow, and blue. Even though where they've overlapped, they combined. Like, obviously I put the blue over the yellow there, but it combined to make that other secondary color. Now, when I combine actual secondary colors, so let me show you kind of what that does. I'm going to start with actual orange here because, like I said, the orange is the complementary color to that blue. So, and next to purple, orange looks brighter too because yellow is the opposite of violet. So orange is enough of that it looks interesting. So where these overlap, you're going to have more of a neutral color. So if I layer my secondary color here, you'll see what I mean. If I put green next to this orange and overlap it, it will create like a neutral, or it'll tone that orange to like more of a brown. You can see when I overlap. So don't be surprised. Like, that's why you're doing this and experimenting with color schemes so that you can see what happens when you put things next to each other or when we layer the colored pencils. I'm going to round that off a little bit. It was a little bit weird. When I take violet on top of green, it also kind of makes a brown, but it's a real dark grayish brown. So you can kind of see when you combine primary colors, it makes secondary colors, but when you combine secondary colors with secondary colors, you're going to get more of a neutral tone, like a brown or a gray. going to take a break for a minute. So I took a little bit of a break. I'm going to turn this around. I just got done doing my secondary area. I'm going to do a monochromatic color scheme for over here in this area. So I was just erasing that little bit of pencil. So I'm going to do, let's do an orange monochromatic because it'll kind of come through here. So I'm going to keep like right here white or super light. So I'm just going to mix the lightest bit of orange with white there on my page. So it's like a super light peach. Layer a little bit more orange on top. So I'm doing different values of orange by layering. I'm going to try not to pick up too much of the graphite for my drawing pencil. Layer a little bit more of the orange on top there to get a next shade. I'm going to get this one almost full strength. Actually, let's go full strength on that. So I'm layering quite a bit to get it full strength orange. Okay, now I'm going to take my black colored pencil as opposed to my drawing pencil, and I'm going to layer on a little tiny bit of black into that orange. So I'm layering a little bit over it. I'm kind of going with like magic wand hold on this pencil because this is getting a shade of the orange, and a lot of times shades of orange will tend to have a brown look. So I'm going to layer the orange back over it to kind of blend together. Keep layering my orange out. I need to sharpen this. Just a little bit. I'm going to carefully add my orange around. So always be careful at the edges of things, and then in the open areas you can speed up a little bit. Take some practice. I put my finger here to stop the pencil from going where I don't want it to go. I'm going to be layering more black over this, but I want that base color underneath because this is monochromatic, and eventually, whereas it might get completely black, it's still going to have an orange tone to it because it is tints and shades of the hue of orange. So now I'm going to layer, let's see, lightly around here to kind of make it blend in. I don't know if I'll be able to erase that. Not very well, but so layering. I'm going to be careful. I'm going to put my finger over this because that will help stop the pencil from going into my object. I'm going to color black here. Now this is looking a bit like a hot mess. Hang on. Layer, layer, layer. If you're in Mrs. Waymer's class, ask Mrs. Waymer to show you her shading. She's really good. I tend to get a little impatient when it comes to shading with colored pencils, but you can get really, really cool effects. You get a nice sort of shine to your surface. And the more you layer, the more sort of complex your color gets. I'm trying to get this super light so that it sort of blends in seamlessly, but and I turn my paper so that it is more convenient for me. You don't need to twist and turn your arm. You can turn your image to be able to manipulate your materials how you need to. Okay, so I've got my monochromatic area. Now I'm gonna pick my colors for in these spots. I'm gonna do a red because it's right next to that green. So I'm going to shade with my red around where the highlight is for the Mike Wazowski eyeball. Maybe I want to do warm colors inside the sphere, so of course. All right, before I was so interrupted by the phone, I was coloring in this sphere using warm colors. I'm going to use red, orange, and yellow to do that. While the phone conversation happened, I took the time to sharpen my colored pencils a little bit. When you're sharpening your colored pencils, they do not have to be super extra pointy. That is not important. You just need to be able to see that color so you can use it. So, of the warm colors, red is going to be the darkest value, yellow is going to be the lightest value, and orange is in between. So I'm going to take my eraser, because I've gotten a little bit of smudging going on. I'm going to erase that nice and white, and I'm going to come in around that area with my yellow, layer in my yellow, keep a little bit of white. I don't know, I just kind of like it that way. Then I put that tiny little bit of red on there already, so you can kind of see how that comes down into the sort of red-orange color. I'm going to bring this out, and then I'm going to transition. I'm going to put my red Mike Wazowski mouth in here. That looks like it. And bring this out. Turn. Round this off a bit into my sort of I'm gonna go in with my orange here. Full strength where it meets the red. I'm going to blend over to kind of bring everything together. Just kind of lightly where it meets the yellow so I don't take out the yellow completely, which is honestly quite possible. Just a little bit, getting it nice and blended. Okay, so I've got warm colors there. I've got one more sphere over here. I think I'm gonna do a complementary thing here with yellow and purple. So I'm gonna leave a little bit of white and I'm gonna go around it with the yellow. And then I'm gonna take my violet to make my Mike Wazowski mouth. And then when I add my other values and mix it together, it's going to have almost that grayish brownish quality to it. I'm going to layer a little bit of yellow on top of my violet there. You can kind of see how the complementary colors really kind of neutralize each other, really make it sort of gray out or brown out. I still need to fill these 3 spaces. Now, do I have 5 color schemes? I have complementary, I have primary, I have secondary, I have monochromatic, I have analogous. So yes, I have all of my color schemes. I'm still going to continue with them. But at this point, and you do want to kind of like circle which ones you've got going on here and what colors you used. So secondary, primary, monochromatic, I did orange. Warm, I did the Roy. I did complementary, yellow and violet, so I've already got that listed there. So it really just depends on what you want to do. Since I've got red over here, I'm going to flip this around and I'm going to do some shades. So I'm going to start with my green because I like how vibrant complementary colors next to each other make each other pop out. So I'm going to go in with this green and I'm going to color it full strength right here. And then I'm going to put black over it. So that's going to be my transition area, but I'm just kind of getting it down in my mind. Got a staple right there, but we'll get it. So getting it dark, which will kind of tend to blend in this corner and make sense because of my monochromatic over there. So really blend that together, get it nice and smooth. And then work my way out. Layering. I'm trying to get as smooth a transition as I can. Now, is this as smooth as I would like it to be? No, it's not. However, it is showing you shades. Maybe I'm going to do this one into tints. So let's see, what color? Let's do yellow. And I'll start dark here, which will kind of make sense because this is here. It'll still make this stand out. No, I don't like that. I should have erased that line because I don't like the way that that showed up under the colored pencil. But you can learn from my mistake and you can choose to erase that. Okay, so out here, this is the full strength. Oh my goodness, stop shaking. And then out here, it's gonna get lighter and lighter. So I'm going to shade as lightly as I can. Right here, you might wanna do some magic wand action to get it. And then I'm going to leave it white at the corner. So I'm just going to real light there, layer a little bit more. Layer, layer, layer. And get this to that middle ground. Layer it until it looks even. Okay, so there's my tint of yellow. Now I just have to decide what I'm doing over here and I'm done. So let's do let's do a full color spectrum. I'm going to start it backwards though. I'm going to start it from violet and work my way the opposite way. So I'm going to start with I don't know what number I did or what letter I did. Just made with my mouth, but so I'm going to start with violet, then blue, then green, be careful when you're going around things, watch your craftsmanship. Then yellow, I don't like that at all. I'm going to fix this. This bothers me. So I'm going to try to blend a little bit there. Then my orange. Oh, that is, my one sphere is very ovoid. It's not very sphery, it's more elliptical, but sometimes, depending on how your paper is oriented, things look circular when you start them, and then guess what? They're not. That's why it's also important to turn your page as you go. So I'm overlapping a little, trying to blend this a tad. Notice I'm holding down the edge of my paper here because I don't really want to rip my page, and that can happen if I'm not being careful. There's that, and my last color in the spectrum, my red. And where is pink in this color spectrum? It is a tint of red, but magenta is often used for mixing. So if you ever like look at your color pencils and say like, well, where does that go? It goes in with red because it is part of that same area. So here is my finished 5 spheres, at least 3 in pencil, 5 color schemes, 5 background sections, and there we go.